Julius Malema was born on 3 March 1981 in a poverty-stricken township in Seshego, Limpopo. Like many African children, his father was absent, so his mother, Flora, a domestic worker, raised him. Little did she know he'd become the political heavyweight he is today. Sadly, in 2005, his mother died. However, he continued to call his grandmother every day of her life until she passed away in 2019. Most people who grew up in Seshego were poor, but Julius was so poor that even the other poor families were like, yo, Julius's family is poor, eh? Julius used to go to school without shoes, with jerseys with holes, and he never really knew where his next meal would come from. Malema began his political career at the age of 9, when he ran away from home and sneaked into a bus carrying ANC members to Johannesburg to see Nelson Mandela, who had just been released from prison after 27 years.
That was a pivotal moment in Malema's life as it planted the seeds to his political ambitions. 9 years of age, Malema would join ANC's Musupatsela movement, and by the time he was 12, local comrades had taught him how to make petrol bombs, barricades of burning tires, and struggle songs to keep morale high. In 1993, he ran away again, this time to attend the funeral of his hero, Chris Hani. Malema was a child activist. He could toy long before he even attended high school. By the time he was 14, he was already the leader of the ANC Youth League in his hometown. 2 years later, he would chair the Congress of South African Students for the Limpopo province. Although his young political career was blossoming, his education was suffering. Malema failed grade 8, then grade 9, and only got to write his matric exams at the age of 21. In 2008, the media got hold of his results and it was a frenzy. It revealed that he had just scraped through, failing both mathematics and woodwork. However, it wasn't due to a lack of intelligence or inability to learn. Simply put, Malema didn't perform well academically because he was too preoccupied with politics. In that same year, in 2008, Julius Malema was elected as the president of the ANC Youth League. Hi, welcome to another Dollar Bill documentary. In this channel, we talk about money, power, and status. If these subjects appeal to you, please consider subscribing. Enjoy. Malema would become obsessed with the ANC, often stating in interviews that he won't have a wife because he is married to the ANC. On several occasions, he mentions that when he goes to clubs or restaurants, the only thing he wants to talk about is politics. In 2009, Julius Malema was on the rise, and Jacob Zuma was to become the next president of South Africa. In his first public address as the ANC Youth League president, Julius said the following:
"But to take up arms and kill for Zuma."
This was not the first time Julius Malema exhibited his inclination towards violent behavior. In 2003, when he was still the head of COSAS, Winnie Mandela was sentenced to 5 years in prison for a string of fraudulent activities. He was convicted on 58 counts of fraud and 25 of theft. Malema would then go on to say that the Students' Union would burn the prison Winnie Mandela would be jailed in to prevent her from going. So his controversial statements are not a new thing. Even former Archbishop Desmond Tutu called on Malema to apologize for his statements, and the ANC partially distanced itself from him because his statements drew widespread criticism. The Human Rights Commission would then reach an agreement with Julius Malema, banning him from using the word kill in public statements again. This agreement had little effect on Tutu, as his supporters would later chant Dubuli Boon in a public political rally. Say what you want about Julius Malema, but he is the only person who publicly has our back when white supremacy rears its ugly head in South Africa. For example, remember when Clicks said our hair is ugly? Or that time when H&M called us monkeys? These were disgusting marketing stunts by these companies, and it was Julius Malema who disciplined them.
Shows a black boy wearing a hoodie with the words, "the coolest monkey in the jungle."
Protesters taking their disgust with the ad right to the Swedish clothing retailer. This is the online ad sparking outrage on social media here and across the globe. Calling for H&M to be kicked out of the country, protesters stormed into the shop, leaving a trail of destruction.
We are telling them to close the shop. And then if they are not going to close the shop, they must just know we're going to be here almost every day, starting from today.
Malema says the EFF will tackle racism head-on this year.
All over South Africa, H&M stores are closed because they called our children baboons. So we are teaching them a lesson, because we are not going to allow anyone to use the color of our skin to humiliate us, to exclude us.
After the initial outcry, H&M removed both the ad and the garment and apologized for any offense caused. The retailer has indicated that all its stores in the country will remain shut temporarily until the situation has been re-evaluated. Nhlanhla Kgatlane, SABC News.
Thank you very much, comrades and fighters. We are here with the leadership of the province, the chairperson Butani, and the spokesperson of the EFF. We are here to protest against the indignity of black people, where cliques saw it befitting to portray black people in an inhumane manner, in a manner that is not acceptable. We should never allow anyone to practice racism after the formation of the EFF. The EFF is the only machine that can defeat racists in South Africa. And we are here to say to cliques peacefully, racism is violence. And the only way to defeat violence is through violence. And we are here peacefully. We are saying to them they must close the whole week. They will open from Saturday because they value money more than humanity. They projected us in that way because they wanted to make more money out of projecting black people as people who cannot be celebrated and their beauty is not befitting of human beings. So we are here to say to them, since you wanted to make money at our expense, we are going to make you lose money.
It's 2009. Julius is on the rise, and Jacob Zuma is about to be sworn in as the next South African president. The media tried to attack Malema in every conceivable way possible. However, he has a tendency of rising above any criticism that is thrown his way. For example, when the woman who accused Jacob Zuma of rape, Malema suggested to a group of university students that this girl probably had a nice time with Zuma because in the morning she requested breakfast and taxi money. A number of people did not take kindly to this, with Cape Town columnist John Scott stating young Malema has views about females that should be restricted. Another example was in February 2009 when Malema criticized Naledi Pandor for having what he called a fake American accent. In Julius Malema's defense, he once told Tokyo Sikwale that if he wrote him a speech and he said it in public, the media will find a creative way to twist it so bad and make it look so terrible that even him, as the author, would be so afraid of associating himself with it. And I agree with him. Like him or hate him, he's a very intelligent individual because he understands media and he understands human behavior. In 2010, Malema visited Zimbabwe and he was accused of praising and pledging support for dictatorial rule of President Robert Mugabe, who lost the election but refused to hand over power. Zuma, who had previously supported Malema, criticized him publicly for contradicting Zuma's foreign policy approach to Zimbabwe. Zuma described Malema's behavior as totally out of order and warned that action would be taken against him. Malema fired back, condemning Zuma for criticizing him in public, and this was the beginning of their fallout. Inside the ANC, Malema sparked tensions with COSATU and the South African Communist Party. He proposed nationalization of mines, but was called out for trying to enrich himself in the process. This fight may have intensified tensions, but it won him the support of the poor. This was until July 2011, when City Press newspaper alleged in its report that there is a secret family trust of which Malema was the sole trustee. This trust financed Malema's lavish lifestyle. The report alleged that the Ratanang Family Trust, named after his son, was registered shortly after being elected as the ANC Youth League president. This paper further claimed that senior politicians, companies, mayors, and municipality managers deposited lots of money into the account so Malema can facilitate deals and push their agenda. For instance, one claim was that 200,000 rand was deposited into Malema's account in exchange for facilitating a successful tender bid. When the stories broke out, Julius Malema criticized the media for looking into his wealth, stating that his money was nobody's business. COSATU General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi, ANC Ethics Committee, SACP, AfriForum and DA called on the police and special investigation units to investigate him. However, Malema fiercely defended himself and his trust fund and crushed his enemies so badly that the ANC Youth League re-elected him as the president in June 2011. This victory wouldn't last long, however. On 16 August 2011, the ANC served charges to Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu. Both were charged with violations of the ANC constitution. Malema was charged with the following: causing divisions within the ANC by stating that the departure of President Thabo Mbeki had left a vacuum in African leadership. This statement undermined current President Jacob Zuma. Julius Malema was not wrong though. According to an article by the Daily Investor, this graph proves that South Africa's best economic growth was under Thabo Mbeki, and it was downhill from there. Malema was charged for barging into a meeting of ANC officials, calling white people criminals during pre-election rally in Kimberley and singing the struggle song, Dumbulipun. Malema's expensive indulgences also landed him in hot water as it drew repeated criticism. I mean, I have nothing against the man eating nice, but it contradicts his anti-capitalist populist message. Also, remember in September 2012 when Malema owed $2 million in unpaid taxes to SARS. That same month, national prosecutors charged him for having committed money laundering, corruption, fraud, and racketeering. The ANC had had enough and decided, his former mentor even went as far as saying his behavior is foreign to the ANC, which is a bold claim considering the fact that Malema dedicated his entire life up until that point to it. During the hearing, an estimated 3,000 ANC Youth League supporters made their way to the ANC headquarters. They doid, chanted, burnt the ANC flag and t-shirts with Zuma's face. They were calling for all charges to be dropped entirely. These proceedings came to a halt on 6 October 2011 when Julius Malema was hospitalized due to stress and high blood pressure. As soon as he recovered, on 10 November 2011, Julius Malema was suspended from the ANC for 5 years. When he tried to appeal, Cyril Ramaphosa came in and took him out entirely. And although he didn't understand it at the time, this was a blessing, as Malema would go on to form the fastest growing political party in South Africa. Champion of the poor, enemy of the rich. Like Lucifer and the fallen angels, Malema and his comrades are suspended from the ANC.
The controversial leader of the African National Congress's youth wing, Julius Malema, has been suspended from the ANC for 5 years. He was found guilty of sowing division within the party, but he has a right of appeal.
This caused a lot of analysts to think that his political career was doomed. But like a phoenix, he rose again. Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu went on to establish their own political party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, on 27 July 2013. The EFF is a Marxist-Leninist political party focused on the redistribution of wealth and nationalization of large corporate industries. The party made an impressive debut in 2014 elections, winning about 6% of the national vote. This was enough to give the EFF 25 seats in the National Assembly. In 2019, the EFF did extremely well, taking almost 11% of the national vote, increasing its number of seats in the National Assembly to 44. With the EFF, Malema sets out to achieve some audacious goals he's been harboring for a very long time, such as the nationalization of mines and banks, land expropriation without compensation, redistribution of wealth to himself, and, more importantly, becoming the president of South Africa.
I'm going to be president of this country, whether you like it or not, and I will preside over the affairs of this country, including presiding over you. I think you must start adjusting to that reality. The sooner you do that, the less chest pains you'll have when that reality comes.
In the manifesto, the EFF brags about how the EFF got former President Jacob Zuma to pay back the excessive money spent on Inkandla. It also states that they led the political process that ensured that the Guptas are brought to justice. And Malema even called for Zuma to be removed from presidency.
Zuma will go to jail. Yes. We want to see him suffer until the end.
And check this, ne? Malema is very smart. He is a politician to the core. He understands the laws of power. The 20th law of power says do not commit to anyone. When the wind blows one direction, the EFF follows. When it was cool to hate on Zuma, the EFF hated on Zuma.
The voters have rejected Zuma. The voters have rejected Zuma. The voters are saying to you, the voters have whispered and said to you, you cannot continue the way you are continuing. Even when the voters have given you a warning, you are still not listening.
You are no longer speaking
you
to
are
a
no longer listening, even when the voters want you
Honorable
on the 3rd of
Malema.
August.
Honorable Malema.
We have a motion here.
Honorable Malema. Honorable Malema, take your seat.
I'm not going to take my seat. You must tell Zuma to leave.
Honorable Malema,
I listen to you when you don't tell Zuma
if
to leave
you
this
want
house.
to
Now that it is cool to like Zuma, all of a sudden Malema says Zuma is welcome to join the EFF.
If President Zuma comes and joins the EFF, he will be more than welcome. I think very soon I'll be going to see him. I must give him a form to join. The same way I'll give to President Mbeki, the same way I'll give to President Mutlanti. They are good citizens of our country.
And I think Julius is an opportunist. I don't think he believes in anything he's really saying.
And we hope very soon we'll welcome Mr. President Zuma into the EFF.
Duduzane and his father
they will be prosecuted. We don't care about these delays and all that. Zuma will be in prison as a pensioner. You must know that. It doesn't matter how long it takes for the EFF to take power. All these thugs are going to go to jail. They must know that. They must pray that we never take power. We don't play with this. These thugs, they know too, that where there is EFF, they don't play around. We told them even here.
Lo tata lo usile. This man goes to the house of a friend. The children grow under him. They call him Uncle Zuma. Uncle Zuma. When he looks at them, he doesn't see children. He sees potential women in children. In children. He did that for the first time. They accused him of rape. We said, hi, they are accusing him wrongly. He did it for the second time. He doesn't learn.
Like I said, when it was cool to hate Zuma, he hated Zuma. Now that it's cool to like Zuma, he likes Zuma. Julius Malema also has anti-Semitic views which he expresses very loudly and proudly. An example was when he made the allegation that there's a group of white right-wingers who are being trained by the Jews in Pretoria to be snipers. In an interview with Al Jazeera, Malema said, "We will run out of patience very soon and we will remove the government through a barrel of a gun."
And we'll run out of patience very soon. And we'll remove this government through a barrel of a gun.
In November 2016, Malema said the EFF were not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
What is the problem? Come to that, move! Move! Piece of shit! Move! 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 Fighters! Fighters!
According to Wikipedia, he repeated the statement in 2022, saying that he cannot guarantee that this slaughter will not happen in some point in the future. He also then tweeted that the only white man you can trust is a dead one. This is unacceptable.
You say, we are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. That means at some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future you may very well call for the slaughter of white people?
It may not be me.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me. I can't guarantee that I can't do it or I won't do it.
So right now,
so I'm not ruling out that possibility.
If I asked you to pledge to say, I will never call for the slaughter of white people, would you make that pledge?
I will do it with ease.
Make that pledge.
Why would I do that?
I'm asking you to make that pledge.
I
will do it.
I won't do it.
Make the pledge.
I won't do it.
You won't do it?
Yes.
I understand.
And remember when Julius Malema received 1 million rand from Kyle Phillips? Behind closed doors, like every politician we have, he chows their money. On a brighter note, Malema married his longtime girlfriend in a private ceremony in his hometown Seshego in 2014. Their first son Mudzenzi was born in 2016. Their second, Kopano, was born in 2018. He also had another son out of wedlock, Kodwa Sikolab. Stiene is a known to win because of his skin color. Zuma is too old and Tutuzani is too young. Ramaphosa is impotent and Musi Maimana's face annoys me. As it stands, we are on a downward trajectory. And it breaks my heart because we have such a beautiful country but no one to lead us. In December 2013, Malema was arrested for speeding 215 km per hour in a 120 km per hour zone in his lavish BMW along the N1 freeway. He was released on a 5,000 rand bail. My question is, if he is charged for reckless and negligent driving of a motor vehicle, how much more will he recklessly and negligently drive this country? Could this truly be the future president of South Africa?